Right. I want to dispel a misconception. I may or may not have stated that the dowels that I bought at the hardware store yesterday to make arrows, I might have said they were 3 feet long. They were actually 4 feet long, which brings a certain issue to bear. If I was to just cut them down to say 30 inches, let's just say 30 inches, I could have taken those 7 dowels and had 7 arrow shafts, 30 inches long, and I would have had 6 inches of waste. You could use those little shortened pieces for something, but basically 7 dowels, 4 feet long, 7 arrow shafts. I, however, am able to get, and this is cool because I had 2 darker ones here, one really dark and one just semi-darker. I'm able to get 29. I'm able to get 11 arrows out of those 7 dowels, and the only waste I have is this. Let's see here. This is it. I'm only wasting, where's my inch mark on this? 5 inches. 5 inches of waste. I could eliminate that by cutting it into 11 pieces and then grafting this onto the knock end, but I'm not going to be that hypercritical. I'm going to use that for something else. Now I'm at the point right now, I cut them. I have, let's see, how long are these things? They're 6-inch pieces, and I'm just going to have one. 6-inch pieces for the foreshafts, 24-inch for the main shaft. They're not going to be 30 inches long, they're going to be 29 because of that fish mouth joint there. Okay, now let's dispel another myth. It was brought up in a comment, reasonably so. It's, do you have some kind of a jig to cut it? And I'm assuming it was a jig to cut the fish mouth here. You don't. How this works is chisel point, foreshaft, and then you just cut or split. I can't think of what that would be called. Just a split through there. Just picture a split, and when you jam that chisel into there, this end splays out, and then you glue it. Now, you have to do a couple things here. First, you need to figure out the orientation of the growth rings. And I want, because it's made from a dowel, you know, there's growth ring action going on here. I want it to be all the same throughout. Let's say level with the ground, growth rings level with the ground. I have to have that split in this 90 degrees. So if the growth rings are this way, the split has to go this way, 90 degrees. And then also orient the chisel so boom, it fits in there. So you would not see the fish mouth right here if the growth rings are level with the ground, but if I rotate it 90 degrees, suddenly you're going to see a V. Now, when you jam it in there, this is going to splay out. When the glue's dried, you just sand it down and it looks, wow, you must have had a V notch in there. No, I just split it, jammed it in, and waited for the glue to dry, and then, you know, sanded it round again, giving it a mysterious look. Now, how do you keep that split from traveling down the shaft? All you do is wrap it with something. I wouldn't use something thin and uncompliant like dental floss, because you're going to have then an impression on this one, which you could steam out or soak out, what have you. But I'm just going to use, say, some cotton string. Allow the split to go a little beyond it, just a tad beyond it, because you're going to fill that with glue and sanding dust, so you're not even going to notice that the split goes beyond the chisel. No big deal. Nobody will know except you. Now I have cut all the pieces and parts. 11 shafts out of 7 4-foot dowels with only that 5-inch waist. What am I doing now, you may ask? I'm going to have a 1-inch chisel. So what I did is I marked 1 inch using my measuring device, just a tick mark, because I'm going to be sanding it on both sides. I want to have an exact impression of where that inch mark is. So all I did was I made this. Look at that. It's a fallout or a tear out or what have you from traditional Archer magazine. Just a piece of thicker paper. Rolled it around there. And that gives me a way to take a pencil and go all the way around it. So I've got rings around all of these. Next, I'm going to take the same device, same tick mark, put it on these. I can have an inch on this and an inch on this. The slop factor is enough. And do the same thing. It's because instead of splitting it, I am going to use a miter saw. And I want to stop that thing on both sides and know where to go. And I might even draw a line on this, sand that butt end, so I can definitely see the growth rings, and then draw a center line down it, and then just using my eye and my 1,000 years of skill, make that slot down there. If the slot somehow isn't perfect, you can change it by when you're gluing it. Just jam it in and kind of and then sight it and let it set like that. So that's not as critical as it would be thought, but you can certainly just draw a straight line down there. If you don't like it, just wet paper towel or something, or sandpaper, erase it, and then do it again. And that is it as far as this station. Today is, I'm going to make bunny tracks. I'm working with this, but I just wanted to show you the marking process and the whole kind of scheme of just jamming them together, and then it just goes twang, and then you sand these parts off. You sand off the itsy bitsy spider's legs. What else? Note, Dan, you're right. If you were to make the arrowheads, which I'm going to out of an old Gerber machete, which I'm not impressed by, it's going to be hard because it's somewhat hardened steel. But I have a weed torch. I'm going to blast it till it's cherry red and let it cool slow, softening it. Make the arrowheads, do the rough finishing of the edges, and then hit it with the weed torch again, or a smaller torch like a plumber's torch, and then temper it. Not precisely. It's a straw yellow color. It's a cherry red. It has to have this. Not critical enough. The softer it is, the easier it's to sharp. Easier to sharpen. The harder you get it, it's going to last a little bit longer, a little less easy to sharpen. Get my point, it's not that critical. I'm going to soften it, then I'm going to harden it. Not the precise standards. That is all. That is all. Have a good one. Thank you for watching.